Dragon League Week 4. For tonight's matchup, we have the we have the Abusement Park versus the Metamorphic House Hobbits. I'm SuruStorm. With me here is the one and only Huppilicious. How are you doing, Hupp?
I am doing just fine. Despite a little technical difficulties, we were able to get in on this game just in time. Unfortunately, because of a person missing from one of the teams, who was it? Metamorphic House Hobbits had to forfeit a match. Very unfortunate. I hate it when that happens. But, you know, sometimes people just don't bother to show up or they can't show up. But we'll see what we got on the Rift tonight.
We are here in the now, and hopefully we'll have a good game to make all the waiting worth it. Got some interesting comps coming out, Zach slipping through the ban phase, and a fairly interesting drafts out from both sides. What are your initial thoughts after seeing these coming out from the teams?
I mean, I see both teams have elected very strong frontline tanks. Kind of see a little bit of dive comp coming out of the Metamorphic House Hobbits here. But you definitely see that the Zach did get picked up by Lord Drizzington. But we do see that mid lane Ari very strong right now. I actually don't know how this is going to turn out. I haven't seen hardly any of these people play before. This is, I believe, the first time we are casting at least the Abusement Park. So I really don't know what to expect coming into this game.
Yeah, and
I'm excited.
A lot of these players are subs or first-time starters. I believe the top laner for the Abusement Park is playing his first week now, and Lord Drizzington on the Metamorphic House Hobbits is a last-minute E-sub. So we'll see how they perform with a little less preparation than the rest. But across the board, things fairly standard for what we do know of the team. Swipe more, picking Zyra. He's favored that pick pretty heavily throughout the season. And Phoenix, 96, going with a late game, high attack speed, team fighting a hyper carry. He's had some success with them in the past, and he's sticking with what he knows.
And that's really what you want to do, especially when you're fighting, you know, a team that you really haven't faced against before. You want to pick that comfort, especially if it gets through, so that way you can just get the feel of your enemies compared to one of your best champions.
Absolutely, and fairly standard starts coming out from the junglers. Bear Ruler looking like he might take a bit more of a farm-focused path, not opting to go for any early ganks, as it looks thus far. Oh, a little bit of some trades coming through here and there. Lord Drizzington shows himself in the mid lane, but things are still fairly slow this far into the game.
Not very far at all. We do see that Kickster definitely got his butt a little kicked there. Camera did not direct up to that, but thank you, Camera. You're the best player on these teams.
Yeah, absolutely. The AI observer is working overtime. Got the hamsters doing all they can. A little bit more trades. Trundle just kind of showing his early game prowess in this matchup. Oh, and hook comes through from Chino Sensei. He takes it in. Flash out from Swipe More. Phoenix gets a few more trades. Burns the heal out of Unstealthy One. Nice little trade for the Abusement Park down in the bot lane.
They might have gotten the heal out of it, but that Zyra flash, now I'm sure that Metamorphic House Hobbits have informed their Zach that one of those bot laners does not have the flash.
Yeah, absolutely. And after that burns through, immediately both junglers, they route their way down to the bottom lane.
Both junglers decided to meet each other in the river and say, do we really want to do this? And both just went about their own way there.
Like two ships passing in the night. And Chino, he's stepping a bit forward, gonna pop that plant. go back in. They're looking to get farmed up. How are these two comps looking to scale into one another in a lane-by-lane type scenario?
Well, let's start off with top lane. Chen can get very tanky very quick. Trundle can do a lot of damage and get tanky very quick. I think that it's going to lean more towards the Trundle. Of course, also depending on, who ganks who's got, most pressure and all that other stuff as well.
Trundle having his ultimate to steal defensive stats from the Shen, also being huge in that matchup. Oh, and now we've got a gank into the bot lane. Lord Drizington onto Phoenix 96. He gets the rocket jump out. Attention onto Swipemore. Hook goes through, and one more auto attack from the Unstealthy One will take down Swipemore. First blood over to the Metamorphic House Hobbits, but they're not done. Dadaziz in the mid lane burns the flash out of OGT Catalyst. Action on all fronts to finally get this game rolling.
Yeah, and it's about time. The engage from Lord Drizington got the Tristana out of there, and unfortunately, poor Swipemore, no flash like I mentioned earlier, was caught out and just destroyed.
Oh, and now there's Bear Roller looking to retaliate on the top side. They're getting some attention down on him. Debatably clutch. He's holding on to his flash still, and he manages to get away without burning it. Now OGT begins to channel the teleport, decides to cancel it. Not into that trade as it standed right there.
Kind of unfortunate there for the Abusement Park. Now that they know where Gragas is at, they know that he's up there top side.
Comes for the turnaround, gets the barrel, finally burns the flash out of Debatably clutch, getting away with just over 100 health from the gank.
I will say that is a lot of time in occupancy in the top lane. I'm actually surprised that Lord Drizington did not go in for a gank with the vision on the Bear Ruler. Knowing that he was up there, he could have easily went into another lane and had no contest in picking up a kill for one of his laners.
Yeah, absolutely. Or just looking to invade the jungle a little bit, something. But instead he opts for a bit of an oddly timed back, I guess just thinking that it would be the safest time for him to do so. And laning phase returns to its standard. Fairly slow across the board. The Unstealthy One with the first blood and the pressure he attained from it in the bot lane, managing to pick up a 10 CS lead over Phoenix 96 and Swipemore, and CS leads actually coming across the board for the Metamorphic House Hobbits.
Would like to say that the Unstealthy One now has a BF sword, a pair of boots, over the Phoenix 96. That is a good bit of damage over at 7 minutes and 30 seconds in.
Yeah, absolutely. And the gold, as you can see here, Phoenix is sitting on a fair amount of it, but still an 800 gold difference between the 80 carries in the bot lane. And they'll be looking to just establish their vision control. Metamorphic House Hobbits, they've actually got some pretty nice vision for themselves set up, fairly decently into the Barrel Roller's jungle. And coming in strong to the early game with a 1,500 gold lead.
And that gold is on where they want it to be. It's on the Stealthy One.
Yeah, absolutely. They got the Xayah, for tried and true pick for mid and late game. Just really able to scale into late game fights, and not so much power in an offensive sense, but when she is pushed into a situation where she has to kite back and absorb lots of pressure, that's where she really shines, where she can spit out tons of feathers onto the board and just really shine with her fascinating amounts of self-peel and damage mitigation from her ultimate.
Now, damage mitigation, the snare off of 3 feathers being brought back to her can be quite a pain to deal with.
Drizington, he shows his face top lane. He decides to go for the ward. Play it a little bit safer once he sees Kickster has vision of him. Another interesting thing here is seeing a Zyra's laning phase fall this behind. A little bit of a disadvantage. Chino Sensei lands a hook. Is not able to flay through the rocket jump, but a huge amount of damage coming through in the bot lane.
And we did see that Zyro did burn the Ignite onto the Unstealthy one.
Oh, and the gank comes through on the bot lane. Shino Sensei is knocked back, flays under the turret. Meanwhile, debatably Clutch takes out Kickster in the top lane. Unstealthy one is going back in. He gets two with with Chino Sensei barely managing to pick up the jungler. Now he's looking for more, on to swipe more for the double kill, with OGT Catalyst coming in to help clean it up.
Very well played by Chino and the Unstealthy one. Even without the Malzahar being there, they had already won that fight. But with the Malzahar, they're like, no. See, we're taking it all from you, and that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Taking the top and the bot towers.
Yeah, having pressure in both of their side lanes and their mid lane, losing fairly respectably given the amount of roaming he's been doing. And just a great laning phase out of Metamorphic House Hobbits. The 0-3 team in the season thus far, having a nice showing against another one of the lower tiered teams.
I do want to remark on that last fight that we saw. We did see the Thresh burn the flash. We did see the heal go out to save Xayah. Xayah would have been dead if she didn't have that heal. No, I'm sorry, she didn't use heal. I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. I thought she had burned heal there. But we did see Summoners burned down in that lane. But the Thresh hook to bring Gragas back in, while the turret was still beating on Tristana, Gragas had just barely walked out of it, got pulled back in, but the turret had already swapped to the ADC.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kickster fighting back a little bit in the top lane, trying to not let himself fall too far. Oh, and now gank comes in onto OGD Catalyst. The Let's Bounce comes out. Shenalt is coming through, is able to stop that disease from going down. Nothing happens in return. And the game continues.
I feel so unsatisfied right now. I thought there was going to be a big play coming out of that. Well, as big as you can get with 4 people. 5 people, because the Bearer Ruler was almost there.
And an unfortunate layering of CC from Lord Drizzington and Catalyst. Only about a third of the Malzahar ult, Malefic Visions, only about a third of its duration coming through, and that's really hurting the damage and total CC time they have when it's being interrupted by the Elastic Slingshot into the Let's Bounce. Just a little bit of a waste there, and it ends up throwing the gank for them.
Yep, if he had just had that little bit more damage. Well, I don't know, that Shen ult was still there, and that shield was full about halfway through that cast. I don't think it would have really made a difference at that point.
Perhaps. Either way, a good trade at the end of the day. They do not have a TP advantage, but they have burned the Shen ult and the Shen TP, leaving him alone in the lane with the Trundle, and that just makes the Trundle fantastically happy. His dream is to be in a solo lane in the early mid game, alone with a tank, to have his way with their turret. And that's just what he's doing, continually getting damage. He doesn't even care that Kickster is hitting on him. He just wants the turret. And it goes down. First turret. Now the Trundle ult. Pillars to block off Kickster. Continuous damage coming through. And he gets the turret and the solo kill. Quick cleanup for debatably Clutch. Getting less and less debatable by the minute.
And we do see a Mountain Drake picked up on the side of Metamorphic House Hobbits. They are playing this game really well. They are getting the objectives that they need. Now that Trundle has that top tower.
What comes through? Chino Sensei, flay back. Rocket Jump comes through, but it's not enough. The auto attack to interrupt. The Blade Storm coming out afterwards, not able to pick up Swipe more, but another easy kill over to the Metamorphic House Hobbits, followed up by the bot lane outer turret.
Now this is where the Abusement Park need to play this very carefully. Both of the first towers of their side lanes are gone. That means the roam potential of the Metamorphic House Hobbits is really dangerous, especially just coming into 14 minutes.
Yeah, for sure, and they're taking full advantage of that, immediately moving into Bear Ruler's jungle and taking his red buff out from under his feet, blasting Cone out. Now Bear Ruler, just sickened by his red buff going missing, he unites with Dadaziz to take down the Trundle, finally doing something about that massive pressure deficit in the top lane. A desperate thing to happen, but
the
step in the right
Abusement Park
direction.
is now on the board. However, 14 minutes and 30 seconds, we see a 6k gold deficit.
Malefic Visions comes out into the... and Dadaziz is just eliminated by the unstealthy one. A little bit of peel coming through on the turret here. Trying to wave clear their way through, but it's so dangerous to step forward here. Root comes through onto Chino. Nothing much will happen after that. Just trying to buy some time for Phoenix 96 to clear through the minions. It's not going to be enough. Lord Drizzington, he gets the two-man knockup. Able to let's bounce away. A little bit of a weird interaction there.
What was that interaction, Rito? What was that?
Sometimes you really have to wonder how many Italians are on the Riot development team when there's this kind of quality spaghetti coming out of the game on such a regular basis. Oh, and another elastic slingshot coming through. He gets onto Swipemore this time. Chino Sensei, can he miss a hook? Bear Ruler, he's looking for revenge, is able to take out the Thresh. Now going in onto the Zac. Another weird rocket jump interaction. Or possibly a flay.
What is this cloud fiesta?
2 bugs in 3 minutes, baby, the dream. And despite these hiccups still going phenomenally well for the Metamorphic House Hobbits, they're looking up and trying to pull the reverse sweep in this series and come out ahead. Oh, and now debatably Clutch going in onto the Bear Ruler. He's attacking the pink ward, but there is a 3-level difference anyways. Kickster, looks for the taunt, is unable to find it, pulls in the safe zone. Bear Ruler, he's not sure whether he wants his buff or the fight. Rather awkwardly out of mana. Debatably Clutch just looking to interrupt and be as much of a nuisance as possible. Charm goes wide. Kickster, he wants the taunt. He's looking to find it, does not see enough of an opportunity. Now debatably Clutch's team is here. They're looking to spread around and get the trap here. But nothing's going to come of that. A little bit of aggression out of debatably Clutch. Goes wide, but is definitely showing who is in control of this game.
But definitely so. He is definitely letting the Abusement Park know, hey, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And that's going to be a Rift Herald for Metamorphic House Hobbits.
Yeah, super strong pickup, especially with the experience deficit from the top lane. All of their lanes will be pushing in, should give them a great opportunity. Now there's going to be a handoff, Lord Drizzington into Stealthy One for the red buff. Should be very nice on that Xayah. Just further enhance her kiting potential.
I would like to point items out real quick. Trundle already having a full Trinity Force and Tier 2 Merc Treads. And unfortunately, Shen not even having a Sunfire Cape completed yet.
And a 60 CS deficit for the Shen in the top lane. Top lane is an unfortunate place right now for the Abusement Park. OGT Catalyst grabbing a bit of a blue buff should help him wave clear to defend his turret. If it comes to that, but with the amount of pressure they have, that'll just be purely on aggro.
And we do see the Catalyst opting to finish the Rylai's Crystal Scepter first rather than the Marilla Namicon. Whereas the Disease went ahead and finished that and is now building, I don't know, what could that, Fiendish Codex and the
Banshee's
Soul
Veil.
Mantle. Bansheesville, thank you.
Looking to pick that up, try and reduce the power of just flash ults coming out of nowhere.
And
Catalyst going to have to hit a few other things first.
Well, we also do see that Xayah picked up the Ninja Tabi.
Yeah, it makes sense.
To block some of that damage from the Tristana.
Oh, and now Bear Ruler looking to get a bit of a comeback engage. They're able to pick off Chino Sensei. Oh, and Phoenix once more. He's going in onto the Unstealthy One. Unstealthy One bursts him in a heartbeat and flashes out. Dadaziz, he's able to get the charm to follow. Bear Ruler comes in with a pesky little auto attack out of Swipemore to finish that one off. Now, Kickster might have bitten off a bit more than he can chew here. Not looking to chase that onto debatably Clutch, who is more than content to just rock away and continue eating through the Bear Ruler's topside jungle. Oh, Kickster, he's looking at, manages to get the interrupt here. onto Debatably Clutch. Debatably Clutch just instantly turns onto him. The King's Land comes out, and the ultimate is healing him for so much. Will Kickster go down here? Comes very close, is able to get the last second shield to clutch it out. And that is just what he needed in this matchup. Able to find something. This will help him with this massive CS deficit. Won't help him with his bot lane, which is approaching a flame horizon, but will alleviate some of the pressure that is continually brutalizing the top lane for the Abusement Park.
At 20 minutes, we do see that the gold deficit is only at about 6.7. It peaked earlier at about 7.8, but has gone down now that the Abusement Park are starting to pick up kills, are getting shut down gold, and overall, seeming like they're catching up for the most part.
Yeah, they've definitely stalled out the game. The gold lead is large, but it hasn't gotten bigger. Metamorphic House Hobbits, they need to find a way to keep growing their leads here. They've just fallen into this trend of let Debatably Clutch shove in the top lane, try and shove in the mid lane, and take a few objectives and hope something good happens. I want to see them looking to force the Abusement Park into bad situations and engages, rather than continually relying on Chino Sensei to just grab a hook to be able to make something happen. It looks like that might not happen. Could go into could be returned onto him, is able to flash away out of that pick, and a Rift Herald is summoned in the bottom lane. Debatably Clutch looking to shove this in, try and finish off that bot lane inner, and advance forward onto the base. Phoenix 1 looking to... Phoenix 96 looking to grab some of this CS. Falling into habits here, sorry. Try and stop the Flame Horizon from happening. It's not enough. The Unstealthy One completes the Flame Horizon onto the Phoenix, while his team picks up the Ocean Drake.
I will say, even though they did not get anything tower-wise with the Rift Herald, they were able to, pick up a dragon. I mean, I think that's a good enough trade. They created a distraction. Everybody on the side of the Abusement Park went down to stop it, but was it really worth it?
Yeah, no, while they aren't pushing their leads too hard, at the same time, they do have a comp that scales fairly nicely into the late game. The Xayah is going to be very destructive in late game fights, but on the flip side, it could come at a bit of a detriment. Into the late game, all of the responsibility goes onto the Xayah to carry it, and then a little bit more coming out from the Abusement Parks. But they're taking use of this constant top lane pressure, going to push that down. Elastic Slingshot comes onto two people, gets taunted, interrupts an instant Q follow-up. Gragas ult is disrupting a little, but it's not going to be enough. Let's bound, misplaces Swipe more. Now they're going to turn onto Barrel Roller, and Phoenix 96 is quickly pulled back, bursted down instantly, and a 4 for none going over to the Metamorphic House Hobbits, and now they're looking to break into the base. Just obliterating through this tower's health bar as though it were not there in the first place, chomping onto the inhibitor. Just a destructive game from them this far. A slight lull around the 18-minute mark, but the tempo is picked up immediately again in the last 3 minutes or so. And now they're looking to go for a second inhibitor. Dadaziz is still in the bot lane. He's not able to respond to this. Forced to back now, but it's too late. Swipe more, not advancing forward, even with the Barrel Roller and the Phoenix 96 up. It's all too late, and two inhibitors go over to the Metamorphic House Hobbits.
With no response to any of that happening, the Metamorphic House Hobbits pick up three turrets, 2 inhibitors, and about a 13.5k gold lead. Literally doubling it from just minutes earlier.
Absolutely. It's starting to look very grim for the Abusement Park. Things are looking revolting across the board in favor of the Metamorphic House Hobbits. The Flame Horizon has been sustained by the Unstealthy One and has grown another 14 CS. 2 waves more over the Phoenix. And things look dire.
Sorry, I would like to point one thing yet, real quick. Due to an issue earlier, I believe it was the Metamorphic House Hobbits had to forfeit Game 1 to the Abusement Park, and I'm actually glad that these two teams got to play, because now we see the Metamorphic House Hobbits are. I honestly think at this point, if they just keep their heads on straight, they're gonna win, and we're gonna take this to technically a Game 3, but Game 2.
And then Lord Drizington, he's looked great all game. His elastic slingshots have been clutch, landing almost always on more than one member, setting up a great early game for them, and they're coming up huge with their E-sub. Oh, and debatably clutch almost gets the red buff. He's unable to take that. But while he's just toying with 3 of them, his team obliterates the Baron.
And we do see that the Abusement Park has absolutely no vision anywhere on the map except for one ward. We see Metamorphic House Hobbit like completely vision all over the map right now, and we see one little ward coming out of the Abusement Park.
Yeah, and now they're just pushing into the base while they wait for debatably clutch to catch up. They might not even need him. Super minions all over the place, all empowered by Baron buff. They can just start poking onto the turret here. Oh, Kickster, he's moving up onto the unstealthy one. Stun comes through, is able to knock back into Swipemore, is able to burst him down really quickly. Now they're going on. They're trying to finish off the tankier members of the Hobbits. Not a lot happening as they are immortal, and now debatably clutch. He goes forward. He's able to finish off the Zyra, and a quick triple kill coming out for OGT Catalyst.
A 4-1 for Metamorphic House Hobbits, and they're gonna end right here.
Little bit of a BM hook coming through onto Kickster. Doesn't matter in the end. An utterly dominating game out of them. A 53k gold lead when all's said and done.
18k.
Pardon me. I didn't do well in elementary school, Hup.
It's okay. No one really did. We just got gold stars because teachers felt sorry for us.
Me too. And moving over to the damage graphs, it can't be seen. Swipemore, despite getting caught out quite frequently throughout that game, is able to do almost the most damageized team at 9,500, only beaten out in the game by the enemy Zaya at 9,700 and the Trundle at 9,800. So despite, at some points, looking like he's continuously giving to the enemy team, still able to dish him out a fair amount of damage.
I would like to point out, though, the damage coming from Tristana, only 2,266 damage, the lowest in the game. Even less than a Zac Jungle. She was definitely shut down early.
Less
kept
than a
out of the
Thresh.
fights, destroyed, absolutely destroyed, and that really, really hurt the Abusement Park. Was not having that damage.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll be right back looking to get into Game 3, pardon, of this series. Stay tuned, you're watching Ascension eSports.